Guided Spirit Conversations. I'm your host, Marla Goldberg. This podcast has been created with you in mind to acquaint you with some of the most incredible metaphysicians and spiritual leaders from around the globe who have helped others change their lives. In this interactive hour, you will be offered insights and techniques to help you make a difference in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening platform. And here we go, on to the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Guided Spirit Conversations. I'm Marla Goldberg. I am so overjoyed about today's show. I have two amazing and special people with us today who are going to take us on a journey like no other. So I have with us Patricia Hayes-Smith. Patricia has been a leading pioneer in intuitive and spiritual development for over 50 years and is well known for her experiential teaching methods. She has appeared on numerous major television programs, including Current Affair, Unsolved Mysteries, and Unexplained Mysteries. Patricia and her husband, Marshall, founded Delphi University in 1985. She has channeled and developed several transformative healing modalities, Ro-Hun, Yhandi's Inner Light, and Encore Art. She has authored several books, Light from the Heavens, What is Ro-Hun? The Gatekeeper, Extension of Life, Arthur Ford Speaks, and her most recent, The Definitive Book of the Afterlife. We also have David Robertson, and David has been an aware medium since childhood. He has honed his spiritual abilities with a lifelong study and is deeply attuned to the spiritual dimensions of light. He has earned a doctorate in Ro-Hun transpersonal therapy from Delphi University, with further studies in mediumship at Arthur Findlay College in England and Kingswell College in Scotland. He specializes in perceiving, facilitating the movement, release, and balance of energies, emotional, mental, and spiritual states. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited to have you both here. As people know, I am a student of Delphi. I love Delphi. It is like my womb. It's like going back to home. I talk about it in those lights because it's how I feel about it. And knowing that I had just come back last week or this week from being up there. Let's start with Patricia. Patricia, you have done a lot of work, but your latest book, The Definitive Book of the Afterlife, I found to be an incredible read. Let's talk about what was the impetus to starting, to writing this book, and what your intentions were for helping people.
All right. It's got an emotional beginning because I wrote it because of an accident that my love, Marshall Smith, who has worked with me since ever, the night before his accident, he asked me a question. He said, "How are you going to start our new book?" We were thinking of writing a book on the afterlife, and we were going to use my brother, who had died in 2014. And I told him, I said, I think I'll begin it with my brother. And I never imagined in a million years that I'd be beginning it with him. So the next morning, he got up and he took our dog for a walk like he did every morning. And when he came back, the doorbell rang, and he never rings the doorbell. I opened the door and he was in his black robe that was covered in the reddest blood I had ever seen. And my heart stopped when that happened. And I am telling you this because it affects me as I talk. It still affects me. Marshall and I are still in communication after 3 years of him being over there. So I feel like the definitive book of the afterlife, that was a result of the accident. It was the way that I could stay in touch with him because I was writing about him. So it allowed me to have more time with him. I am still in touch with him. We created such a rapport from one side to the other that a lot of people have learned how to communicate with their loved ones through this book. So yes,
That is such a beautiful gift to be able to teach people that they can communicate, that their loved ones are not far away, that they
yes,
stay close by.
yeah,
And the other thing, I know I read the book, and what I love is that it takes the fear away about transitioning.
yes.
You
That's
know,
its purpose. That's its true purpose. Because if we are afraid of death, we're also afraid of life. So when we release one, we automatically enjoy our life more because we're not worried. Oh, am I going to do this? I have a good, firm feeling about where I'm going. In other words, I'm going to create my own space in the afterlife. And when you know that, you do things a lot different. That makes sense?
in the physical,
Yes.
knowing that you're getting ready to create it for
Yes,
whenever
yes,
your last breath is.
exactly. And you know what you want to do. You begin to plan. And when you begin to plan, you're actually connecting. And if you have loved ones there, they can find you now because you have opened your connection. So many people have talked to their loved ones through just reading the book because it helped them to understand that we do live, first of all, after we die, and there's nothing to fear. But now I want to create the life I want. And I want to do this in my next life. And you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So now I'm planning, and it's not that I want to go, but it's like we plan for everything in our life.
We do.
It's nothing unusual to plan, you know? So yes, it was a beautiful time that I got to spend with Marshall, communicating for other people to understand that yes, we do live after we die, and why not plan where we want to go?
And I love that because you and Marshall have a plan to meet on a mountain.
Pardon?
And you and Marshall have a plan to meet on a mountain.
Yes, yes, we have our mountain, we have our place, we have our house, we have, yes. And when I meditate, which I do often, that's a form of just lifting into a higher realm and being able to talk with your loved ones if you want to, or learn about spirit. So Marshall and I have meditated for years and years together. So yes, he's on the mountain. I know exactly where he is. He knows where I am. And yes, we can share together still. And yes, is it better to have them in the physical because I'm in the physical? Of course. But if you cannot, it certainly is wonderful being still able to be in touch with your loved one. And he certainly is my love.
And I think it helps, because when people leave us, it's great for them. They're in a beautiful, beautiful, peaceful, loving place. But it leaves a void in our life, like a bit of a black hole. And so knowing that you can communicate and reach out to somebody on the other side, and they can comfort you, they can guide you, they can, if it was your confidant, you would like throw all your stuff, like, what about this? You can get answers. And I think that for me, it's just very, it's a very peaceful knowing now that I can get all that. And there really is no hole, that hole is only something that a human makes.
Yes, no, you're so right, because I have had so many people say that it has brought a peace to their life, knowing that their loved one will be there waiting for them if that's what they desire. So it is, yes, it solves so many things. And the groups are wonderful to go with it because the groups help people know for themselves with their own loved ones.
Absolutely. And the group we're talking about are the Spiritual Secrets to an Inspired Living.
Yes.
And David and Patricia have worked together to put together these classes. So David, let's talk about you and Patricia. What was the impetus for you and Patricia to partner up to put these classes out for everyone?
She and I were on the mountain one night. We were meditating, and we started to feel this energy, and it felt like a wave. And we began going into the energy of the wave. And the best way I could describe it is the promise of love fulfilled. That's what the energy felt like. And we got the inspired idea that we needed to create a study group that centers around the book, the book of the Afterlife, where people could begin to understand what the afterlife is, how we get there, how we create our destination. Just as our thoughts and feelings are creating our experiences in the physical world, our thoughts and feelings create our destination, our experiences in the afterlife. And all that is happening within what we're calling our personal space. Our personal space is made up of our physical self, our mental, emotional, and spiritual selves. All that's happening within our spiritual space. If we can keep, our personal space. If we keep our personal space filled full of inspired thoughts and enlightened feelings and desire, then we begin to attract experiences based on those inspired thoughts and enlightened desires. The personal space is what we take with us from this physical life into the afterlife. So the groups are really centered on a lot of in-depth understanding of our personal space and the natural laws and principles that govern, that quote, regulate what's going on within our personal space. And if we learn how to work within those natural laws and principles, life smooths out. It becomes much less bumpy because we're not resisting the natural laws. We're working in cooperation with them.
Where do you feel the resistance tends to happen with most humans? Because we all go through our stuff, and some, handle it, in a different, softer way than others might handle it.
I think most people's resistance, when you get to it deep enough, is their fear of the unknown. Resistance is often times about control. And if they don't know what the unknown is, we clamp down and we hang on. And through the spiritual secrets, we develop so much a safety zone through our personal space that we know when we have that safety zone, we can move through any transition. We can face the unknown because we have our personal space. We feel safe, we feel confident in this personal space when it's filled full of light.
David, do me a favor, explain personal space, because there are some people who may not understand your perception of what personal space is. I mean, we have what society puts out there, but this is a bit different.
We decided to use the word personal space instead of aura because it's much more relatable. But our personal space is made up of our physical body, and then the next layer out, which is the etheric layer. The etheric layer enlivens the physical. The next layer out is our emotional self. The next layer out is our mental self. The next layer out is our personality. It's the personality's job to carry the thoughts and feelings from one experience to the next. Beyond our personality is our higher self, that which always knows itself as an individualized aspect of God or source. And then the final layer is source itself. We're in it all at once, but our peace comes, our productivity comes when we begin to realize that and acknowledge it and work in harmony with it. Once our personality gains awareness and forms that partnership with the higher self, then we have access to source, to light, to infinite inspired thoughts. And we'd much rather be creating from inspired thoughts versus some of the thoughts that are floating around in the collective these days.
Like the limiting beliefs, etc.
Learn how to not attach to the negativity of others also. And that's really important.
That's so important.
Yeah.
We have a caller. We have Reggie from New Jersey calling in.
Okay.
So, hello, Reggie.
Marla, I hope I'm not interrupting you at an inappropriate time.
It's a perfect time. So this is Reggie, and this is Patricia and David.
Hi, Bridget.
Hello,
Hey, Reggie.
it's so
Oh, sorry.
nice to talk with you both. And I was calling because I've been reading your book, Patricia, the definitive book on the afterlife.
Yes.
And Marla had actually gotten it for me because I'm going through a very difficult time with my mom, who is 94 and really going through the last 6 months of I believe, transition.
Yeah.
And I was struggling so much with this until Marla said, you've got to read this book. And the book has made all the difference in the world for my understanding of where she is and my understanding of what will be and how she and I have been able to communicate since reading this. And I really had to call and just thank you so much for providing this kind of information to most of us who just don't even know what exists in the afterlife. And it gave me tremendous comfort. So
yeah, well, your energy is coming through. I can feel you as I'm talking. And as you're talking, I can feel
good.
You. Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
I'm so glad because I could feel yours all through this book, and it was very powerful, and it's made a big difference in the way I am actually relating to and connecting to my mom during this time. So I had to just call and say thank you so much for what you've done.
Sharing that. It's ones like you that make everything we do important. It really is.
Well, what you do is so important, and I just hope more and more people will be able to hear your message and understand how important it is. I just was tuned in when you were talking, David, about inspired thoughts and creating from inspired thoughts, and isn't that the truth, right? I mean, so often we are not in that place.
When you release the fear of the afterlife, you're a new person. You're a new individual. You have a freedom that you didn't even know you didn't have. You know what I'm saying? In other words, it's such a release to understand that, hey, I don't have to worry. I can even begin to plan where I want to go. And we went to our mountain, which we love. We have been meditating and going there for years. Yes.
How beautiful. My parents met in Austria after World War II. They were both Holocaust survivors. And there was a mountain outside of this little town where they were kind of in camps for 5 years. And that's the mountain that I've been talking to my mother about.
That's interesting. Delphi has a, where is it? In Austria? Where's Helen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Austria. Yeah, we have a Delphi.
There's a Ro-Hun Institute in Austria.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Really?
Yes.
Isn't
that something? Well, I'll have to find out a little bit more about that.
Well, go to the Delphi University website and you can learn about Ro-Hun and
which is amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
Another process developed by Patricia that is powerful.
Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Reggie, for calling in.
Thank you. Thank you, Marla, too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Are you hearing anything from Marshall? Is he sharing any information? I don't want to leave him out, so that's why I'm asking. I don't want to put you on the spot, but if he wants to share.
I will share. If he has anything to say, I will definitely share.
He's saying something to me, and it's about surrender more to your feeling self. Feel there's tremendous new waves of love and inspired thoughts coming to us from the universe. But the best way to tune into them is to feel them.
Yes.
Mankind has been so stuck in their head. And, we've only been using half of us, half
Not
of
even.
what we're capable of. And these new waves are about feeling.
And a freedom.
Because we have to remember that it's our feeling, loving self that leads us home to God, to Source. And it's our feelings, and Marshall's really dinging in on this one. It's our feelings that overcome all the fears and doubts of the mind. When the feelings are intense enough and we allow them to be intense enough, then the doubting self calms down and takes a powder,
Yeah.
I like that, because we do doubt ourselves a lot as humans. We double guess ourselves, second guess ourselves, which really keep one in a stuck place.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Not agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Marshall, he was very attuned to energy, and he was a vice president at Kimberly-Clark, and he retired from that because he believed in Ro-Hun so much, and that is why he retired, so that he could devote himself to developing the Ro-Hun program. So it's just interesting fact that most people don't know.
If you've just tuned in, I'm with Patricia Hayes-Smith and David Robertson, both from Delphi University. Patricia, founder, and David, a doctorate. He has a doctorate in the Ro-Hun therapy, which we were just talking about on break. We're talking about Patricia's book, The Definitive Book of the Afterlife, and the class, the support class, workshop class, Spiritual Secrets to an Inspired Life. Both are phenomenal. Now, I'd like to talk about, how do people take this class if they want to learn all these secrets? And there's about 35, 40 secrets?
Over 30.
Over 30 in the book. I know there's quite a bit, and there's such powerful secrets to really living your best life.
I want to say something quickly about the secrets. When I was doing the final editing of the manual, I had to start numbering the secrets so we could refer to them. And I got to about the secret 19 or 20, and I started thinking, I wonder if we're going to end up with 33 secrets, which is a master number. And that's exactly where we ended up. And each of these secrets are provided to empower the individual so that they begin to know themselves. All the secrets all point us to know thyself.
Yeah.
And the more we know about ourselves, the more productive, fulfilling life we can create. We understand our triggers. We understand where we've been sabotaging ourselves. We understand where we find inspired ideas within us. It's all within us.
Yeah,
it is.
We don't need any external drugs or trips or any of that. It's all right here.
Yeah, it's an opportunity with a safe environment and people you enjoy to be able to release your anger, to release anything pent up stuff you've had, and just feel free. And when you feel free, inspiration comes.
It does. And freedom is so empowering. I mean, people don't understand the correlation sometimes, but it's so empowering to be free, to live inspired, to do what, makes your heart sing.
Yeah, it's fun. It's far more fun than hanging on to anger and envy and all of these negative stuff that you don't need.
No, we don't need
The secret number 11, and again, there's a
master number,
actually shares a method that where you learn to clear your personal space.
Can you share that, please?
No, I think I'd rather save that for the groups.
Okay. Well, is there one of these secrets you'd like to share with them, just as a little?
Let me think of the first one. Well, the first one is obvious, but I've been surprised at how many people really don't know this, and that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience.
Yes.
And once we begin to realize the depth of the secret that we're immortal, not mortal, whole new worlds of experience and peace open up to us.
Yeah.
I agree. What do you do with people who have these these religious constraints because they were brought up in a Christian or some religious faction, and they're told, no, 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 this is not, true. How do you talk to somebody to let them know this isn't a religious belief or dogma? This comes from source.
I don't think we're here to change the dogma. I think we're here to attract the new. And that would be the new person that wants to find themselves. They want to find their heart and their soul. It's not a matter of what church I go to. It's a matter of, how do I live my life? Am I enjoying it? Am I having fun? Or am I doing my duty? And duty is tiring. It's a heavy energy. It's much more fun to feel inspired than duty. So it's like you trade those old reactive selves for new inspired ones. And you know that there isn't anything you can't do if you truly want to do it.
And I want to pick up where she left off right there. If someone, because was one of the groups we had in mind, is that people who are feeling the desire to move beyond the dogma of religions. That's one of the reasons we kept the language in these groups so gentle and general, so anybody could begin to relate to it. So the spiritual secrets groups are really for even the very beginner, because the language is so basic. And even advanced people who have been on the path for a long time, are gaining tremendously from it. But if the desire is there, desire is the first step to accomplishing anything. If the desire is there to begin moving beyond religious dogma, they'll find their way, either to something like the Spiritual Secrets or Delphi University, whatever works for them. Their desire will lead them.
So let's talk about the class. So the first thing is you need to complete the book. You want them to read the book. I mean, it's not just to sell books. It's because the content is so brilliant and helpful.
Yes, exactly.
We actually discuss, after the third week of the series, or after the third class, we discuss specific chapters in each of the meetings. And those discussions are aligned with the experiential exercises, because in these classes, we're using development techniques that Patricia started 55 years ago, when she was only 5. By the way. She was only 5. But they were so effective that even back then they were endorsed by Marcus Bach, who was the director of the Foundation of Spiritual Understanding. So the techniques that we're sharing in these classes have been proven effective for over 50 years.
And so let's talk about this. Class is of no charge, that you donate your time to teaching the class, but you do it with the hopes and I'm going to let you finish that up.
Yeah.
You teach this
catch on. In other words, each one teach one.
I like that. Each one teach one, which is wonderful.
I have to go back to when we first were inspired to start these groups. Of what we heard is that it's the promise of love fulfilled. It's time. We're in the 5th creational cycle of man, where God begins to walk through man, not just walk with us.
Marshall just came in.
Welcome, Marshall.
Yeah, boy, I felt it.
He's very strong.
I felt it, but then I lost my focus. He's excited.
Thanks you for sharing.
Yeah, he's excited about what we're talking about.
Yes.
Dang, I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
And that's the reason that the groups are free, because it's a movement of unconditional love.
And so you teach the group for free with the hopes and intention and to inspire people to pass this along and to pay it forward by teaching it for free.
Yes.
Yes.
And moving this movement along.
Yeah.
Did I sort of encapsulate that?
Yes, you did beautifully.
Okay.
And,
That is it.
and the groups are fun. They're fun to lead. And this is kind of 9 to 5 world, but if you're leading a group and you're a spiritual professional, it's a great way to get people to come in and begin to experience you. They develop trust with you. And then you start attracting clients for individual sessions.
Yeah. And let me add that one of the most important things taught is how to feel energy. Because if you can feel energy, there isn't anything you can't know. And it gives you a confidence that, hey, I don't have to just do what everybody else does. I can find my own creative self and my own inspired self. And that's what I want to do. And yeah, it's a freedom. It's like a lighter and freer and freer and lighter.
It's so true. And I will tell you from my experience, the people that I shared that experience with, we created such an incredible bond together because we've gone through this experience together.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And you say, I don't want anything more to do. Well, this isn't anything more to do. What it is it's doing things you have fun doing. Everything in the group is fun to do because you're learning something and you're stretching and you're saying, hey, I forgive myself for this that I've been holding on to for 50 years,
Right.
It's time to let it go. And yeah, inspiration, that's what I would say. The value is to live an inspired life, because if you can live an inspired life, there is nothing better, is there?
Nothing.
No.
And one of the things that I want to share is the transformation that I'm seeing in folks that are moving through this material. In your class, there was a young man who's not even 20 years old yet.
I know.
And I get really moved when I think, because he's very sensitive, he's very intuitive.
Yes.
And he learned how to kind of direct that part of himself and not be overwhelmed of it. And he learned how to have access to inspired thoughts to begin creating the life he wanted.
Yeah.
I wish like heck I had had that information when I was 17.
Me too.
You
Oh my
know?
God, how powerful is that for a young one?
Yeah, there was another lady in your group that had been moving through intense grieving for her mother. And through the techniques that she learned in these groups, my God, the peace that she gained, I mean, she was glowing by the end of those 4 days.
Yeah, and she was a newbie. I mean, she was relatively new to this.
What I call a baby in the spiritual world.
Yeah, we also had another gentleman who, was a very creative person, but this took things to a different level for him, in my opinion, from what I saw.
Yeah, he was able to move beyond his limiting concepts of himself, his beliefs about the universe, and he was another one of those that just bloomed in those 4 days.
Yeah. So let's tell everybody, where do they go? What do they go to? Reservations at Delphi U for information, or?
The easiest way is to email me.
Okay, email David.
Blue Ridge Mystic 1, and that's the number 1 at gmail.com.
Blue Ridge Mystic 1. Mystic. That's what I said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mystic.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying. Okay, I want to make sure we're in the same. Blue Ridge Mystic 1, the number at gmail.com. That's David's email. If you're interested in exploring this, I will tell you from somebody who did explore it, it's well worth it. It's well worth it for not just the opportunity to move it forward, but for your own healing and growth.
Personal growth, The next class, all of our classes right now are filled until we're going to start it in you, and it's going to be August the 8th through August the 11th.
So it's just a weekend.
It's parts of 4 days.
It starts Friday night and ends Monday afternoon?
Actually, it's going to start Sunday night and end up Wednesday afternoon.
Oh, A
because
new way,
we're dancing around all the other classes at Delphi.
which are amazing.
Yes.
So check out Delphi University. I only talk about things that I believe in, that I've experienced, and I know the things that I've worked on for me through the classes I've gone through have been so powerful.
Mhm.
And I'm going to take the Intura Art this fall, so I'm really looking forward to that. So if anybody knows Intura Art, it's spiritual art.
Yeah.
I don't want to get this started, but when we come back, I do want to talk about horizontal vortexes, because
Okay.
we're so trained in the vertical that I'd love to explain from your perspective the horizontal vortex, what it is, how to get into it, and how we do it. But I want to wait till we get back from our break for that. But I
Okay.
just want to give a little teaser out there so people want
That's
to
in
stick
chapter
around.
5, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's in chapter 5 in the book. Yeah.
And you can get the book at Amazon.com. You can,
Yeah.
I mean, do you want people calling Delphi to get the book also?
The easiest way to get the book is patriciahayesart.com.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
patriciahayesart.com. I want to make sure everybody has all the information
Yes.
so they can find the book, they
Yeah.
can find the class, and they can start living the life that they want to live. I mean, we are all brought into this world with the concept that we want a happy, joyful,
Yeah.
loving life. All the things that are piled on us, that's not the life we want to live.
Mm.
We want to sort of break through like Superman or Mighty Mouse, those old cartoons where he gets, everything falls on him and he's able to get through it.
Yeah. And the secret of it all is to be inspired. And that's what the group helps with also. One inspires the next, that
Yeah.
inspires the next. It's
It's
and
beautiful.
I have lived with inspiration since I've been very young. I was Arthur Ford's personal assistant. So
You
I
were-
got to do all kinds of things.
Then that's something I'd love to bring up too. Thank you for sticking around. If you've just tuned in, I have the fortunate luck to have Patricia Hayes Smith and David Robertson with me today. Patricia is the founder of Delphi University. She's a pioneer in intuitive and spiritual development for way over 50 years, but you couldn't tell. And then we have David, who is an incredible medium, and he has honed his skills at, oh my God, I just went blank. Arthur Findlay in England and Kingswell College in Scotland. He has been a lifelong searcher and intuitive light for us all. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it's charity shout out time, and you have an amazing church, the Church of Wisdom at Delphi University.
Yes.
Can you talk about the church and what the donations do and where they can donate?
Church of Wisdom is, you have to get on Delphi website to look at it. Because if you get on Delphi website, and you will develop a yearning to want to visit there, because it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. And all the buildings are beautiful.
They are.
So, yeah.
The Church of Wisdom is dedicated to preparing folks who want to be in service, who want to make a difference in this new day. And all philosophies, it's all embraced there.
Yeah.
It's where it all comes together. All the different belief systems, philosophies, religion, they have so many common threads. And those are beautifully woven together in the Church of Wisdom and everything that the Church of Wisdom represents.
There's pictures of it in the definitive book, the church.
Yes.
There is.
Every
Yes,
book
there
I've
is.
written, I always put the pictures of Delphi because they're so beautiful,
Because it's incredible. So delphiuniversity.com is where you can look at the pictures and check the university out.
Mhm.
And then is there a special way they can donate
Uh,
to support? Is there a donation button on there?
Yeah, you can.
I believe there is,
Okay.
somewhere under the Church of Wisdom part of the website.
Perfect. So I invite you to go check out delphiuniversity.com, check out the Church of Wisdom, and you'll want to donate to keep this going, because this is love. This church is love, and you get love.
That is what it's all about. It's not any particular religion. It is
right.
It loves them all.
It's all encompassing.
Yeah. No
It's
competition.
all-encompassing love. So when we were going to go on break, I wanted to talk about horizontal vortex, which is in chapter 5 of your book. And could you share the difference between the going up and the going out and the power behind going out?
Okay, the horizontal vortex Marshall created because people that haven't been to Delphi or people that haven't developed their abilities, intuitive, they cannot feel energy. So if their loved one comes to them, they can't feel it. So he has created a horizontal vortex at bed level. So most people have, in fact, in the book, it shows the actual dimensions, diagram. Yeah. But if you sit on a side of a bed, and I have my picture of Marshall up above there, you can feel him the minute he comes down with this horizontal vortex because it's physical. You can physically feel it at the angle that it is. And that's what he wanted to design for people that hadn't already developed their abilities to be able to feel energy, to sense energy, because they can't feel their loved ones. So they're not sure that it's their loved ones. And he wanted to make absolutely certain that people could feel their loved ones if they're coming, because there's a lot of information coming through now about disease, about what we can do to stay disease-free. There's many, many kinds of things that he can bring through for just a normal person that has not developed their inner senses. And that's important because not everybody that loses their loved one has learned to read energy. So this way they will feel. And when you can feel your loved one, you know it's true.
Yeah,
You know that there's life after death. So Arthur, Ford, and Marshall always came together at that point where experience is your teacher.
It's
True experience is the teacher where you know, not just think you might know. And about life after death, you need to know.
Yeah.
You need to go across with no fear because you know that you're going to where you've already planned to go.
And no anger, because the anger also stifles the experience, does it not?
Yes. And he used to always say that you'd never go on a vacation without a map. So why would you think of death? Because just the thought of you don't know where you're going, that causes fear.
Yeah, anxiety. Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, go ahead, David. I'm sorry.
One of the things I wanted to say about the horizontal vortex is that many of us are used to the vertical vortex.
Right.
The vertical vortex is masculine in its nature. The horizontal is feminine. We have to remember that it's the feminine energy that feels. It's the feminine energy that brings the inspired masculine thoughts from the masculine side of God. It's the feminine that then brings it into the world of form through this horizontal vortex. And as she was saying, the horizontal vortex just expands your ability to feel. And as I was saying a few minutes ago, it's our feeling, it's feeling that heals all the doubts and fears of the mind. It's through feeling that we move into knowing. Or as we teach here at Delphi, when thought and feelings come together, that's knowing through experience.
Yeah.
So
So
true.
I'm really excited about the horizontal vortex because I also feel like there's one that wraps the entire collective. And as each of us worked with creating our own individual horizontal, what we're doing is contributing more enlivenment, if that's a word, to the one that wraps the collective. Yeah. The more of us that are participating in that, the stronger the one in the collective will get.
We are many, we are one.
Yes. And it allows us to begin to feel that. And when we feel our oneness with each other, it's as Christ said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And when we feel that, we stop acting out.
Separating ourselves.
Yeah, we stop separating ourselves.
Yeah.
Which is so important. It's just in the human growth, the human experience. When you stop separating yourself, everything seems to get richer. You feel a fullness, not like you overate, but a fullness of joy and gratitude and all these emotions that might not have been front and center in your experience.
Yeah, exactly. And if somebody would say, oh, I don't want to do that because I have too many things to do already. Well, it's good that we choose wisely what we do. Yes. Because we could get rid of something we don't even like anymore to do something that's going to take us on a journey to an inspired self. And
those are beautiful words to end on. I can't believe the show is over. You both are always welcome back if you want more to share. If you want to share more, you're open forum for you both. Great. I'm so grateful for you being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to share this really important information, because there's so many people who would not have heard about this otherwise. So I'm hoping that this is a catalyst for expansion for the book, for the class, because like I said, I've read, I've done, and I'm just happier for it.
Yeah. And thank you for the work you're doing.
Yeah,
thanks, Patricia.
You make our job so much easier, because she and I are neither good at this part.
Well,
if you ever want to do a podcast about Ro-Hun, I'm in.
Oh, I think people need to know about Ro-Hun. I'm sorry we don't have a chance to talk about Arthur. Arthur, sorry, I wanted to bring you in. But yeah, I would love to have you back talking about Ro-Hun and Intura, because I think those are such amazing experiential modalities that are so helpful for people. Yeah. To learn to do for others, but to also have done for themselves.
That's another thing about the groups that are wonderful. They get to experience things in a safe environment with someone who knows and is inspired enough to teach.
Safe and accepting.
Group. You know, it's like you got to be inspired, because we have so many things in the world. So you have to choose. And
so true.
Love.
Love is the number one. Bridget, right arm, left arm, my assistant.
God
so
bless
great for you. God bless Bridget. And Haley, let's bless Haley on this, because her technical skills on that side. So thank you, Haley, for doing this.
And we have to shout out to Tori. She was Patricia's makeup artist this morning. Yes.
Oh, thank you, Tori. So it's a village, right? It takes a village to help.
It takes a village.
It does. And I want to thank you, the listeners, for tuning in, for taking the time out of your day, out of your life to participate in this podcast by listening and all it has to offer. Please check out my website at Marla Goldberrg with 2Rs.com for the 30-day meditation challenge. It's up there. Please read about it. You will love it. It was designed for those who are just stepping into their meditation practice, who want to deepen it. And until next week, as always, I send you love. I send you blessings. I send you gratitude. You are loved, and I am so grateful for each and every one of you.